It isn't essentially just making changes for yourself. It's what you can do to change the lives of people around you. Understand that this takes time, but patience is of the essence. The time it takes to make change will impact your life in an entirely different light than you've ever imagined. Time builds character. Don't take the short roads. Walk the long route and enjoy the scenery. Success is a mindset, but just know that it's only a checkpoint on your destination of where you'll go. Once you find success, you will always hunt for the next best thing. Success I don't feel is ever fulfilled, but more along the lines that it's chased. The chase of success is loved and appreciated. This hasn't always been easy for me, and I know that it won't always be easy for you, but you don't have to do it alone. Just know that I am proud of you.
Okay, my name is Lori. I'm the president of the All 12-Step Club. I got into this because I found this place when I was homeless, jobless, carless, relationshipless. I had a lot of less. And I came into this place and found a fellowship. The first time I came here, I played pool for 9 hours because it was 106 degrees outside and I was on foot and it was air conditioned. And I met people that I'm still friends with today. And it's been 7 years, I think. 7 years, yeah. We had kind of an epiphany about 6 months ago. We got into a mode where we were just trying to have events to make money. And have events to make money and have events, and we were burning out. We couldn't get people to show up. It was just really all about we got to make some money. And I think part of it was that we had a treasurer at the time that was an accountant, and so he was like, bottom line, you know, we've got to get, and it just came to a place where I wasn't really wanting to be a part of anymore. I was tired, I was exhausted, and Chris was the same way. And my sponsor actually kept saying, you're helping people. And I was like, yeah, but it doesn't matter, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to, I want to dip out. I want to be one of those people that just goes and does whatever they want to, and I don't have to show up for events, and I don't have to worry about the bottom line, and I don't have to do all this stuff. And I don't know, well, I do know what happened. We came down here one night on a Friday night, and a guy came in that was homeless, and he was trying to be in recovery, and there was just 3 of us here playing pool, and the doors were open, and he came in and drank some coffee and warmed his feet because it was the middle of winter, and said, man, I'm just grateful you guys were here. And I went home, and the next morning I was like, oh my God, that's what this is all about. That's what we have to remember. Who cares about the damn money? You know, the doors are open. That's all we care about. Who cares about the damn money? What we want is the doors to be open so that people that are struggling, people that don't have a place to go, people that don't have friends and family in the area, people that have absolutely nothing, can walk in the door, get a cup of coffee, hang out, get warm, get cool, whatever, and maybe meet some other people that are like-minded and have the same goals. And it seems like we had a business meeting following that, and that's where our focus shifted. And it wasn't on the money anymore. We do this Ride for Recovery. That started as not so much a money thing either. It was, won't this be great? Won't this be fun? Won't this get people involved? And we'll do it every year. And the first year was amazing. Last year we got so rained on, but we still had people participate. And this year we're really excited for it because it sounds like there's more people wanting to participate. And that's what we want, is just to show people that you can actually have fun in sobriety. You can have fun in recovery. Getting clean and sober should not be the end, because that's how many of us feel. Like, my life is over, what do I do now? You know? And it's not the end, it's the beginning. And this fellowship just keeps growing, and people change their lives. They meet significant others. They get jobs that they never ever dreamed that they would get. They get homes, they get cars, they get a peace inside, and they're having fun. You know, I did not imagine that I would have as much fun as I do. We are so busy. I told my boss at work yesterday, he said, you know, you need to upgrade your license, because I do. But I said, you don't understand. Like, I'm busy. I come to work on Monday to rest, because there is so much happening in recovery community. And this club is a big part of that. And it's grown and changed, and we've gone through a lot of moves, and hopefully we won't have to leave this location. It's been here for 4 years, and it's been good. It's been really good.
Hey there, are you trying to find creative ideas to keep your student busy and enriched this summer? You're not alone. Hi, this is Jennifer with Cornerstone Learning Academy. At Cornerstone, our summer programs provide a variety of fun games and activities. We teach lifelong skills to help prepare your student to become a lifelong learner. Activities include animal care, the arts, sports skills, STEM, gardening, survival skills, and more. You can register your student for summer camps today, or contact us about our upcoming school year program. We hope to teach each child to embrace their own individual style and find a lasting joy of learning. We have experienced teachers and support staff, so your student has the optimal chances at learning and growth. We also learn in a mask-optional environment. Contact us today and ask about how we can get you up to $1,700 in supplemental learning funds. Visit us at cornerstoneLearningAcademy.com or call 208-207-2956. We can't wait to join you on your educational journey.
Rico. It's a terrific way to get foods and products directly from local producers and growers. Think of it as an online farmer's market. So, how does Rico work? It's really easy. Just 3 steps. Step 1. Go to RicoTreasureValley.com and click on View All Ads. Select the location you're interested in and browse the different offerings from vendors at that location. Once you've found something you like, go to Step 2. Step 2. Register for an account and follow the emailed payment link to start your free 30-day trial with full Rico membership. Remember that item you found in Step 1? Now, you can place a comment on the vendor's ad for that item to let the vendor know that you want to purchase it. Make sure you tell the vendor the item and quantity you want. Step 3. Pick up and pay for your item at the location you selected. Make sure you note the time of the pickup location. A pay-as-you-go membership is also offered on Facebook. Enjoy the convenience of Rico with no commitment for a simple $2 transaction fee. That's it. Why not get started right now? Go to RicoTreasureValley.com and order today.
My name is Joe Daly. Welcome to Joe Daly Racing. I was born in California, transplanted to Idaho when I was 5, been here ever since. I've been involved in watching racing since I was 8 years old. Started racing in my 20s. Took some time off when I had kids, and now I'm back to racing. Joe Daly Racing started out with just me. But now we have a team. We have a great team. We race a car that can be raced almost anywhere in the United States because it's governed under INEX, which is one group that has one rules package and it's the same everywhere. A lot of people have the idea that a sponsor is a money handout. That's not the way we look at sponsors. So the way I and my team approach sponsors is, you're a part of our team. You're not a sponsor. You're a part of our team. If I'm going to represent you, I have to represent you in the best light possible. All of us are competitive. If you go to any driver and they say they're not competitive, they're lying to you. We are competitive. But what we found out with strength and conditioning in correlation to racing is that the better shape you're in, the more dexterity you have driving a race car. It's more than just turning left. You hear a ton of people say, well, it's just turning left. All you do is turn left. Yeah, all we do is turn left. But when you're on a tight track and you're going 75 miles an hour and there's 23 other cars with you, there's a lot to think about. So all that together, we know that the first thing to go, if you're not in shape, is motor movements, right? Like hands and turning the wheel and thinking. And so now you're trying to think and drive all at the same time, which can get pretty hairy. I represent your local racer. I really get involved with the fans, and they come down every night. They come to the car, they get autographs. The kids get autographs. We let them sit in the car. The biggest thing here is relationships between people and competition. And they get to see that. They see that on a weekly basis if they're coming out regularly. They enjoy the racing, they enjoy coming out, they enjoy watching the competition, and it inspires some of them. I mean, obviously I was inspired when we got into racing, and now that I've been in cars and I've driven cars, I'm like, man, and you think back to that time, how did I get better? Well, I just kept doing it. I was committed to it. 2000-2002, I ran a program called Racing Against Drugs, where I worked with the Treasure Valley Drug and Alcohol Coalition and talked to kids about the dangers of drugs and alcohol because of what I'd seen in my life with my father. I teach my children, if you start something, finish it. If it gets uncomfortable or we don't like it, or we feel like it's too hard, that's gonna happen, that's life. So what do? You face those fears and you go after them. We stand for trust, commitment, work ethic, and we're ready to work with you and for you to make you better.
There'll be a question and answer afterwards.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Well, thank you for your attention. I'm not going to talk about me or my campaign. I'm going to talk about the oath and how important sovereignty is and states flexing their sovereignty to save the most precious thing, liberty. The true minority is the individual, not group rights, not extra rights, not special rights. That's going to be the focus of my talk. Over my 32-year career, I've had a front row seat watching all levels of government grow. Correspondingly, I have watched the citizens' freedom and rights shrink. The pace of government expansion has been incremental for most of my career, but since the Twin Towers Pentagon attacks on September 11th, 2001, it has accelerated. The administrative state, the Patriot Act, the NDAA, and now liberty-crushing response to COVID. The size of federal government today, and in particular the federal government, and the reach of its tentacles has so eclipsed the states that most people would have to look in a history book to know it was the states that gave birth to the federal government, not the other way around. Power is supposed to flow up from the people. Instead, we find ourselves covered by the weight of an intricate web of federal regulations and armed bureaucrats that justify their existence under the unobjectionable sounding banner of public safety. Public safety, yes. The federal government cares. They care so much about our public safety that the USDA has made armed raids of family farms for the crime of selling raw milk and organic vegetables. It is wise to question the motives and constitutionality of this level of intrusion in our lives. Government that seeks to remove all risks removes all rewards of liberty. The safety of the nanny state is a prison. They cared so much in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in 2005 that FEMA, with the help of duped local law enforcement, set a dangerous, unconstitutional precedent. Abandoning their oath, they disarmed law-abiding citizens, leaving them vulnerable to roaming bands of violent predators. The feds are in our backyards more and more. Much of the power and influence the federal government enjoys over the states has come through the repeated misuse of the Commerce Clause. The original intent of the Commerce Clause on the states was simply to regulate commerce with other nations, Indian tribes, and the respective states in the Union. But since FDR, there have been Supreme Court decisions expanding the meaning given to the Commerce Clause. It has become the primary source for regulatory expansion over the states, undoing the framers' original structure of limited and delegated powers. Let's dispense with a charade that the Supreme Court is independent or judicial. It is neither. It has become just another political and legislative branch of government, effectively a third chamber of Congress, except for the fact that its officials are unelected, operate in strict secrecy, and hold office for life, similar to the inner core of the Presidium in the communist USSR. The court's members no longer are there to judge, but to vote. Consequently, the federal government has jumped the guardrails and is drunk on power it was never delegated. Through intimidation, ignorance, and fear of losing federal funds, states comply rather than nullify unconstitutional regulations and acts, thereby surrendering the principle of balanced power known as dual sovereignty, where each part, federal and state, is sometimes superior and sometimes subordinate to the other. States do not have rights. Only citizens have rights. States have powers. When states do not assert the power reserved for them under the 10th Amendment against federal overreach, the citizen shrinks. The 10th Amendment was given to us as a rampart separating the states from federal tyranny. State sovereignty must be asserted for the proper balance of power between the states and federal government to be restored. James Madison said, "A healthy balance of power between the states and the federal government will reduce the risk of tyranny and abuse from either front." We have lost that balance of power. Dennis Prager said, "The bigger the government, the smaller the citizen." We are there. Thomas Jefferson warned, "When all government shall be drawn to Washington as a center of power, it will render powerless the checks provided and will become as venal," means corrupt, and oppressive as the government from which we separated. We are there. When I consider the web of regulations and regulatory agencies spun over the states, one of the grievances in the Declaration of Independence resonates. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. We are there. The alphabet agencies of the administrative state lord over us, but do not fall within the enumerated powers granted in the Constitution. State government should be our strongest defense for the people against this federal overreach, but they have coalesced. Many so-called federal crimes are in fact regulatory violations, not laws. The standard of proof is often lower, and the fines and penalties are higher than state and federal crimes. Incredibly, in the Constitution, it only mentions 3 federal crimes: treason, piracy, and counterfeiting. But today, there are literally more federal laws and regulations than can be counted. It has been tried. There are so many that it seems we can be in violation of something at any given moment. Many of these laws are a duplication of state laws and are made in violation of the necessary and proper clause. Some are the product of Congress grandstanding on issues and putting their name on legislation, while others are made so that the federal government can step into local affairs and persecute rather than prosecute when they disagree with what a local jury or prosecutor did. Ayn Rand said, "The only power any government has is the power to crack down on criminals." Well, when there aren't enough criminals, one makes them. One declares so many things to be a crime that it becomes impossible for men to live without breaking laws. As you know, the 10th Amendment of the Bill of Rights reaffirmed that any power not explicitly granted to the federal government was explicitly withheld from the federal government. The Constitution is not a living document. Nonetheless, the federal government has become what Professor Edward Earle of UC San Bernardino describes as an administrative state. This is a system where administration and regulation replace politics as the ordinary means of making policy. The administrative state elevates the welfare of the collective over the rights and liberties of the true minority, the individual. The overreach of the administrative state is seldom challenged by state government because they depend on federal money, as Lieutenant Governor said. Idaho would take PILT money, payment in lieu of taxes. And that's the way for them to leverage, put our arm behind our back and make us go their way. Sometimes state officials cite the Supremacy Clause to their constituents as political cover for standing down to federal overreach when they should be standing up to it. The Supremacy Clause is not a federal trump card over the states. This misinformation over the meaning and scope of the Supremacy Clause has intoxicated federal bureaucrats with an attitude that they have absolute power over the states and has conditioned the people to believe the same when they do not see their state government flex and stand up jealously to federal overreach. Jealousy is the fear of losing something you love to someone else. Jealousy for liberty is the tenor we need in our elected representatives when it comes to state sovereignty and individual liberty. Alexander Hamilton made clear that when U.S. law is not pursuant to its constitutional, limited, and delegated powers, it will be merely a usurpation and will deserve to be treated as such. Certainly, the founders agreed that a supreme law was required for any proper government to function, but the federal government would be limited in its scope and supremacy to only the laws pursuant to the Constitution. Today, our state government is as venal as the federal government. Governor Little has crushed liberty by abusing power. He has been unchecked by the 44 subdivisions of the state known as counties. He declared a state of emergency without meeting the very high bar necessary for such action. Essential versus non-essential businesses, churches closed, in-person trial suspended. The Bill of Rights are the untouchables. And he and city mayors have stepped on the untouchables for almost 2 years now. I'm going to digress here for a moment and talk about the oath. The U.S. Constitution, Article 6, requires that all judicial, legislative, and executive officers of the state and federal government take an oath to support the Constitution. When that oath is not translated into action, in other words, when someone takes an oath and doesn't interpose between overreach and the people, it renders the Constitution toothless and government unrestrained. That's why we've slid so much. That's why the citizen has shrunk and the government has grown. The oath must matter. Let's revisit where we were when Governor Little first stepped on the untouchables. Let's go back to the beginning of the hysteria and use the argument and the numbers from when the governor's first emergency order was issued in March of 2020. As of Easter 2020, there were 1,408 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Idaho and ostensibly 27 related deaths. Idaho's population then was 1.79 million. Medical opinion at the time agreed there was a 98% chance of recovery. Focusing on known cases at the time, COVID affected 0.08% of our population and killed 0.002% of our residents. The numbers used to justify that we are in extreme peril were so far below the bar of common sense that it was self-evident we were not in the extreme peril standard required for the governor to exercise this extraordinary liberty-crushing authority under Idaho Code 46601, let alone extend it. Life is precious, and I do not make light of the heartbreak to loved ones' loss from COVID-19. Nonetheless, where there is freedom, there is risk, and liberty must win over safety. Orders for the healthy to self-quarantine, closing churches, deciding which businesses are essential, requiring a face covering, suspending jury trials, and requiring specific distancing between people are unconstitutional under the 1st, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendments of the Constitution for the United States. Our state constitution can be cited also for an equally strong argument. But the governor has the power, you say? Yes, Idaho Code 46601 authorizes the governor to have extraordinary authority only in times of extreme emergency. This is defined as the existence of extreme peril. Are we in peril now? Were we then? No. So suspend in your mind the 24/7 PSAs, public service announcements, that are echoing in your brain. Have we ever been in extreme peril from COVID? No. The risk of contamination and death were and are so minute that reason demands rejecting the false conclusion that Idahoans are in peril. On March 25th, 2020, when the governor's order to self-isolate came out, there were a 79 in 10,000 chance of catching COVID, a disease with a 98% recovery rate. A 20 in 1 million chance an Idahoan might die of COVID does not rise to the extreme peril requirement by any measure. I know of one elected official in Idaho's 44 counties who called the governor out on his overreach as unconstitutional. It was Adams County Prosecutor Boyd. He wrote a very, very compelling letter challenging the governor on his overreach, on his constitutional overreach. And of course, our lieutenant governor, she also challenged him. And there's, I think, Sheriff Wheeler up in North Idaho. But out of 44 counties, 3 voices that I know of that at least communicated concern and challenged the governor's action. So how do we begin to challenge overreach from federal and state governments and reclaim liberty in these times we're living in? There is an office uniquely suited to defend individual liberty from federal and state overreach: the county sheriff. When you think of the office of sheriff, you may not realize how uniquely suited it is to defend individual liberty and help restore state power. The sheriff is truly unique, one of a kind, unlike anything else. The sheriff is the only elected peace officer in the country. The sheriff does not answer to a bureaucrat in Washington, D.C., nor to the president, nor a judge, nor county commissioners, and not the governor. The sheriff answers to his boss, the people. By design, the sheriff is elected and close to the people, chosen to protect them from criminals of all stripes, including overreaching federal and state government. The sheriff is the people's guardian. In Mack Prince versus U.S., the Supreme Court reaffirmed the sheriff is the CLEO, the chief law enforcement officer in the county. This begs the question, why do we see so seldom sheriffs assert their authority by interposing their office between the people and federal or state overreach? Answer, like many of our elected officials, their oath has no meaning, and the office of sheriff has been compromised by ignorance and by dependence on federal money, mostly in the form of grants and gifts. The good news, there is a movement to restore the constitutional sheriff. Its aim is to remove the influences that compromise the office and replace it with conviction to the oath of office. Supporting this movement is the CSPOA, the Constitutional Sheriff Peace Officers Association. Their mission, to equip sheriffs, peace officers, and public officials with the necessary information and public support to carry out their duties in accordance with their oath of office. There are 3,100 sheriffs in the United States. Of these, 250 are members of the CSPOA. With your help, we'll make it 251. In addition, there are county commissioners and other officials that have joined and are backing their sheriffs. It would seem that these elected officials have asked an important question. Of what value is an oath when the person who takes it yields to the very forces it was intended to withstand? So, what does it look like when sheriffs are led by conviction to their oath? In Wyoming, sheriffs require that feds check in before making arrests, serving papers, or confiscating property. This policy came about after INS, now called ICE, raided the Castaneda family's home. The problem? The Castanedas were American citizens. The Wyoming Sheriff's policy will save lives and protect rights by providing much-needed oversight of federal actions in the states. Other examples of sheriffs standing up. In New York and Colorado, sheriffs refuse to enforce state gun control laws that are unconstitutional on their face. In New Mexico, the Sheriff's Association threatened to arrest feds who come to confiscate guns. Sheriff Johnny Brown in Ellis County, Texas, said he would resist any effort by the federal government to confiscate firearms in his county. Sheriff Brad Rogers of Elkhart, Indiana, told the FDA he would arrest their agents for trespass if they entered an Amish farmer's land to inspect without a search warrant. The feds threatened to arrest the sheriff. He did not flinch, but the feds slipped away, dropping the issue. Sheriff Joe Baca in Sierra County, California, told his county commissioners he would not enforce Bureau of Land Management road closures in the National Forest. Sheriff Baca understands that sheriffs cannot be pressed into service to enforce federal regulations. When faced with such interposition by sheriffs, the federal government's response has been silent for the most part. It seems the feds find themselves in the untenable position of defending its practice of overreach against sobering constitutional realities and their own corpus of historical court precedents that favor dual sovereignty over federal tyranny and are clear that the feds have no constitutional basis of authority for law enforcement locally. To their dismay, the constitutional sheriffs are not going away, but are growing more numerous and bolder by standing by their oath. Let me be clear, this is not talk of revolution. The revolution has already taken place. It occurred incrementally over the last 60 years at least, and the citizen lost. What I am sharing is an avenue toward a peaceful restoration. But there is precious little time. The Marxists are sewing it up. If we still live in a constitutional republic, and if the rule of law still matters, there can be only one response to a legitimate challenge by a state to federal overreach: a shrinking federal footprint and citizens that stand taller. The same goes for state overreach in the counties. Otherwise, we are living under some other form of centralized government hidden behind the facade of a caring, bloated administrative state where regulations penned by bureaucrats combined with executive orders have replaced the Constitution as the supreme law of the land. Obviously, there are consequences to standing on your oath to overreach, such as loss of funding and the potential of lengthy and costly legal battles. But for the right reasons, At the right time and in the right measure, sheriffs are in a unique position to stand up against as the guardian of the people and the state and U.S. constitutions. The alternative to standing up is for counties and states to submit to government's insatiable appetite for yet more power it was never delegated, thereby turning citizens to subjects. Whether to submit or restore, this is our decision to make now. Action cannot be left for the next generation. They have no frame of reference for the freedom stolen from them. We have a duty to posterity. May God bless Idaho and the Republic. Thank you.
See, I don't belong nowhere in this place. It feels like my mind is in outer space. I would explain, but I don't have the time. Got no time. So no time to waste, so I'm out of here. Time to launch out of this atmosphere. I'm going home and I'm ready to fly. One day I'll go into the fire, and all that I know will burst into flames before I return into the ashes. I'll learn to glow. I'll find my way. Said all I ever really wanted was to be a better me, yeah. And all I ever really wanted was for you to set me free, yeah, yeah. See, I walk a lonely road, and sometimes this world is so cold. Ain't taking no bags as I head on my way. I bid you farewell, 'cause you know I can't stay, yeah. I hear the wind calling my name. Come follow the flame. One day I'll go into the fire, and all that I know will burst into flame before I return into the ashes. I'll learn to glow. And I
My name's John. I'm the owner of Rip and Lips Tackle. I started this business just because I'm passionate about outdoor sports. I'm a hunter, I'm a fisherman. I just think that more people should get outdoors. There's enough people spending too much time on video games and cell phones and things like that, and I just wanted to, you know, encourage locals and anybody that comes through here to, you know, just get out, try something new. Once you get up this canyon here, you'll understand, you know, how beautiful it is going up through there. And I think for a long time it's kind of been a hidden secret, and more people are starting to know about it. So it's booming here, you know, with this. I think more people are getting outdoors now with, you know, spending so much time indoors. And I try to be specific to the region. I try to carry stuff that people will use here. I don't want to carry a lot of merchandise that, like, you won't need here. You know, I don't carry saltwater gear or anything like that. I just really want to make sure that I have what people will need for here. You know, you don't have to go to the big name stores, the Walmarts and things like that. I just wanted to have a product that somebody would use out here. I use a lot of Strike King, honestly. I just like the quality of their baits. I also use the Z-Man. The Z-Man Ned rigs are awesome. They're kind of a thing that is starting to make its way in to bass fishing. I have some new hooks back there that I don't think really anybody carries around here yet. Spear point hook. They're a really good hook. I use them quite a bit. I want to be kind of, you know, the place that, you know, you're headed up there and, oh, I forgot we have 5 people on the boat instead of 4 usually. We need an extra life vest. It's here. I'm going to carry more things like RV accessories and boating accessories and outdoor gear and stuff like that, just so that, you know, when you're on your way out there, you know, you don't have to drive all the way 20 miles to the next town or back to Boise or something like that to get something to go 20 minutes up the road. So yeah, get out, come on down, check out Rip and Lips Tackle, get you some Strike King gear, some Z-Man gear, something, and go out and catch a fish.
I've been up and I've been down. I've been everywhere around this town. My beats hit hard, they bang a pound. Y'all know my...
Yes, everything is ready to go. I got the DJ, the set list, and the sound equipment. Please let me know what day and what time you want us to show up so we can be prepared. Thank you.
Boise, Idaho, Northwest Territory. Everywhere around town, people know me. I stay paid well, 10 G's a week. Ain't into gangbanger, but I'm in the street. I'm trying to lift the homies up and...
Yo, what up? B-Cash over here grinding, making it happen. We got this new merch I want to share with you guys before anybody else sees it. Please keep in mind, anybody who purchases a shirt or a hat will also get a free decal. We got the Ill Idaho USA decals, in addition to the dope B-Cash decals. You could throw this on your gear, throw it on your motorcycle, bike, car, truck, whatever. These are the new Ill Idaho USA 210 fitted flex hats. Got that straight flex, straight bill. From the front, looking extra pimping. On the back, we got that steez, you know what I'm saying? Right now, we've got hats for $20 each and shirts for $20 each. We got white, gray, and black shirts.
I had to navigate and try to solve the mystery. It always made sense to me. Life is such a fucking trip. Better hang on with 2 hands or you will lose your grip. Don't let it slip, cause if it slip, then it'll slip away. Opportunity is not to stay ready every day. Play how the cards late. Say how my heart felt. All the pain made me tough, all the scars made me real. On the corner, pushing units, trying to eat a meal until you live it.
You can check us out online. You can always call me direct, 208-573-0760. Keep it ill.